Mr. Webb, you have been waiting 2 years for this day. You claim the defendant, Mrs. Forrest, left you for dead only to find out once you got out of a coma that she was pregnant and that the baby could be yours or her husband's.
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Forrest, you and your husband are here today desperate to put an end to this drama. You say you have no doubt your daughter's biological father is indeed your husband.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Webb, what are your intentions today if the DNA determines that you are the biological father?
My intentions are to fight for full custody rights if she is my daughter.
Well, that's my daughter, and you ain't getting her.
Ms. Forrest, how did you get yourself in this triangle?
My husband got in some trouble, and I ended up meeting Mr. Webb through one of my friends. We hit it off, and then I ended up leaving Mr. Forrest for Mr. Webb.
So you began a sexual relationship?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, and were you using protection at the time?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Mr. Webb, what is your take on this?
It didn't happen like that at first. Yes, we was in love, but towards the end, I was on life support.
No, that's not how it
And
happened.
As soon as I got out the hospital, I had got a phone call saying that she was pregnant. I heard it from my aunt first, but on my way to Illinois with my dad, she had called me and told me that it was a possibility that Elena was my child.
She told you a possibility?
Yes, ma'am.
So that means she was admitting that she also had slept with other people?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you think the other person was just her husband?
At the time, no, Your Honor.
You thought there were other possible?
Yes, Your Honor.
No.
And why would you think that? Why would you have reason to think that?
Because she was working at the time and some of her check would be coming up missing every time she would get paid.
No.
And so what did you suspect? Because something was missing out of her check?
She would get off at 10 o'clock. It would take at least 15 minutes to get home. But she would come in at 11 to 11:30.
It took about 45 minutes to get from where I was working.
So it was missing time and missing money?
Yes, Your
Where
Honor.
she was MIA?
Yes, Your
Now,
Honor.
All right.
from where she worked at, and I know for a fact it took 45 minutes to get from her work
And at the-
No,
to
Your Honor.
the house.
That's a lie.
And at the time,
No, Your Honor.
Because when I moved
So,
back,
Ms. Forrest, let me just ask you point blank. Were you sleeping with anyone else besides Mr. Webb and your husband?
no, Your Honor.
Not during that time.
That's a lie,
But when
Your
you
Honor.
called Mr. Webb and said, I'm pregnant, you did say, and there's a possibility.
Which I didn't get back to with Mr. Forrest until after Travis had done left, or Mr. Webb has done left.
Your Honor, I have a letter from my mom where I was on life support. When she came to drop off my stuff,
Which we were already
she had
broken
moved
up by
into
then.
a motel with Mr.
This is
Forrest.
evidence you'd like me to see?
This is
Jerome,
my
will you
mom's
hand that to
statement.
me, please?
they broke up like 3 days, from my knowledge, to like 3 days before he ever went into a coma.
No, Your Honor, I did not have
We were
any
fighting,
idea that we were
over it,
split
and that
up.
Having
was it.
problems.
I had called my dad for a bus ticket to Alabama. 2 hours after I got off the phone with him, I had ended up on life support.
So this is a statement from your mom?
That is a statement from my mom. And he was there the very next morning in a motel with her.
Is that true?
We were already broke up. We've done called it quits. We done
And
called it everything.
me and my
That's
wife
a
had
lie,
already
Your Honor.
started talking back about getting back together. Well, after they done broke up like 3 days before he ever went to the hospital.
No, Your Honor.
Bottom line is, he's in the bed on life support, and now you have reconciled with your husband.
Yes, Your Honor, but I tried to see him. His mother would not let me see him.
I'm sure there were some feelings because you had gotten back with your husband while he's fighting for his life.
Which I've loved Mr. Webb at the time, but we were,
You loved him.
well, I mean,
So when you
My
realized you
feelings
were
that-
pregnant, when exactly did you realize you were pregnant?
the middle of September,
That is a
All
lie,
right.
Your Honor.
because I didn't know at the time I was pregnant.
So, Mr. Webb, how did you find out she was pregnant?
She had called me the day that I got out of the hospital. I was on my way to Illinois with my dad. I got a phone call. We had a discussion. She said that I may be the father, but then again, I may not be because she was back with Mr. Forrest.
I was there with her at the doctor's office, so it was the middle of September when she found out.
It was in August whenever she found out that she was
No.
pregnant.
No, it was not.
So there's
It's not
a
true.
month discrepancy. You say September, you say August.
Yes, Your Honor.
So when you got the news, did you immediately think you're the father?
Well, she had told me ahead of time that I may not be the father, but there was a chance that I was the father.
So now, what makes you stand in court today, Ms. Forrest, and say that your husband is definitely the father?
I have counted back the times from when she was born, 9 months back, and it takes it to the week that I was only sleeping with him. Me and Mr. Webb are already over with.
All right, let me grab my calendar. See this.
My daughter was born on May 9th of 2013.
Okay.
And then you take it back 9 months later, that takes it to the week of August 26th through August 31st.
August 26th through August 31st, you were sleeping with your...
Just my husband.
The thing about it, Your Honor, is the day that before I went on to life support, we did have sex.
Well, that was the question I was about to ask. What day did you go into the
I
hospital?
went into the hospital on August 26, 2012.
So you saying August 25th, you all were intimate.
Yes, Your Honor.
Is that correct, Ms.
Yes,
Forrest?
Your Honor.
Without protection?
Yes,
Yes,
Your
Your
Honor.
Honor.
Okay. So that's intimate with Mr. Webb. Now you here to tell me you know for sure that your child is fathered by Mr. Forrest and you've got this close proximity?
She looks, yes, Your Honor, she looks just like my husband. She takes after him.
But you do realize this difference in time, this is all a part of the same window of conception. You do understand that, right, Ms. Forrest?
Yes, Your Honor.
He wasn't there for the birth. Why wasn't he there for her?
The reason I have not been there, Your Honor, I had got an email on Facebook from my aunt that Miss Forrest had Elena.
So you got news that the baby was born. You didn't hear from Miss Forrest herself.
No, Your
No,
Honor, not at first.
You heard through your family.
Yes, Your Honor.
I messaged his mother on Facebook and told her what hospital I was going to be at, where I was going to be, when I was going to the hospital and everything. Him or his family, nobody showed
Nobody
up.
showed
So
up.
question,
No.
you messaged him
I messaged his
on
mother.
Facebook, his family, to let them know, but why do that if you know for certain that Mr. Forrest, your husband, is the child's father?
Just in case that he did come back being the father, he could say that he
He wasn't there for the birth.
wasn't there.
So
I had
the
difficult
truth
labor.
is, even you had doubt.
At first in my pregnancy, yes, Your Honor. But he
Who's
wasn't.
on the birth certificate?
My
I
husband
am.
is.
Forrest.
You are. Well, yes, and you would be presumed to be the father anyway. A child born to a marriage, into a marriage, the husband is presumed to be the father.
I've took care of her since the day she was born. Well, a month after she was born. He ain't took care of her.
Mr. Webb, were you given an opportunity to see
Your Honor.
baby Elena after she was born?
I have not met Elena. We have set up dates plenty of times.
They have all been under his terms where he wanted
I
to
have
go.
drove from Illinois whenever she told me that I could meet Elena. I spent the last $80 I had to put in gas.
So-
She had backed out, changed her phone number, and blocked me on Facebook. 3 weeks later,
And that's like
I
every
moved
number
back
I
to
get from you,
Tennessee
it's always
and tried
changed.
to contact her to meet Elena, and she would not contact me back. That is why
And
we
so
are here today.
Elena is 2 years old.
Yes, Your Honor.
And you have still not
No, Your Honor.
held this baby?
No, Your Honor.
Never one time?
No, Your Honor.
No, Your Honor.
I'm afraid that if he does get to see my daughter, that he can run off with her, and
Because he's
there's
done
nothing I
threatened
can do to get
So
her
you
back.
admit, Miss Forrest, that you've been blocking Mr. Webb from seeing
Yes.
Elena?
Yes, Your Honor.
After you initially informed his family that where she's going to be born.
He wasn't there. I had a difficulty of labor. I had a seizure, and I had to go.
But I'm saying, if you informed his family because you believed it was a possibility he could be the father,
proved-
why wouldn't you give him an opportunity to see the baby?
He proved he didn't care by
If
not
he
being
wants
there.
it.
When she told him, he told her he did not care.
No, I have
So
never
therefore,
said that, Your Honor.
he ain't there for 2
I have
years.
been in tears for the last 2 years trying to meet my daughter, and she has never let me once
When I
talk to
called
her
him-
or see her.
When I talked to
have
him and
had
told him
to
I was
create
pregnant.
a fake Facebook account just to see pictures of Elena.
I can't get past why you would not just allow him to see her if you thought it was a possibility that he could be her
They have
dad
all been
for
under
2
his
years.
terms. He's never wanted to meet any. He wants me to come 45 minutes from where I live to his mother's house. I'm not comfortable going alone with my daughter to his
For
house.
45 minutes? You're not comfortable going with you to see?
Not alone, and he's always wanted me to come to his mother's house.
No, Your Honor, I have planned to meet her in Dyersburg, Tennessee, which is a big town, just so I can meet Elena out in public.
And what's wrong with that?
I'm afraid that he's going to end up taking my daughter, and there's nothing I can do to get her back.
He's done threatened to take our
Miss
child.
Forrest, are you afraid he's gonna take your daughter, or are you afraid he's her biological father?
I'm afraid that he's going to take my daughter.
He's done threatened to take our child.
I have a boy. He called me about 2 weekends ago. I was on my way to Arkansas, and he told me that if I don't let him see her, he's going to take her to court or take me to court, and he's going to take her away from me. There's no way that he is getting my daughter. I have cared for her for 2 years. He hasn't.
I will
He's
fight
wanted
for
to see her, but he
full
hasn't
custody.
wanted to do nothing
This DNA
under-
test proves that I am Elena's father. I will fight for my
This
full
is my
custody
child,
rights.
and I will fight you for custody.
There's no way he is getting my daughter.
No, this is our child, not yours, and I will fight you for full custody.
There's no way that he's getting full custody of my child.
I will fight.
No.
So, Mr. Forrest, you're convinced you're
Well, whether
Elena's
I am or he is.
Oh, wait. Are you? No. I'm saying, are you convinced you're her biological father?
There's a possibility, yes. But I don't know for 100%.
You're raising her as,
My own.
so she thinks you're her daddy.
She
Correct.
calls him
calls
daddy.
you daddy.
He calls me daddy.
She doesn't have a choice, Your Honor, because Miss Forrest would not let me
He
meet
would-
my daughter.
He doesn't want to meet under my terms.
I sit in this same seat countless times and I see men that say, well, I don't know if it's my child, Your Honor, so I'm not showing up at a hospital. I'm not coming by to see this baby. I don't even want to hold the baby. I don't even want to buy the baby a bottle because I don't know if it's mine. And quite frankly, I have to say, a part of me has to honor what they're thinking and their opinion and the way they feel because they don't have certainty. In this case, I see a man that wanted to do just the opposite. I know it's just a possibility, but I still want to see her, know her, until I can figure out if she's mine, because I don't want to miss the time, and ultimately, I don't want her
And
to
I'm
miss
afraid
out.
I'm going to lose my husband and my family over this.
See, we bond together. Do you do that?
Well, how can he do that if she won't
Well,
let
because
her see her?
we done tried. He said he did not care.
But I'm saying, how can he bond with her like that when you admit that your wife will not allow him to see her?
I mean, look at her. Look at me and my daughter. She is happy. She looks just like me. She takes after me and everything.
Mr. Webb, I see you are in a lot of pain. It hurts you to see her.
Yes, Your Honor.
And why does it hurt you? What do you feel? You just feel like you've missed out on 2 years.
Yes, Your Honor.
And until the DNA comes back showing that he is the father, he will not see her. I'm sorry, that's just the way I feel.
So is this Miss Forrest's idea or yours?
This is mine.
That's what I thought. That's what I thought. So I think it's time we go to the results. It's time. Jerome? These results were prepared by DNA Diagnostics, and they read as follows. In the case of Webb v. Forrest, when it comes to 2-year-old Elena Forrest, as to whether her biological father is Mr. Webb or Mr. Forrest, it has been determined by this court that her biological father is Mr. Webb. Be clear, you did not just cheat him. You cheated her. Cheated her. You knew it could be a possibility.
And I'm afraid I'm gonna lose my husband and my family over this.
Well, this is my point. You're thinking about yourself.
That's all he thought about when we were together.
You're thinking about yourself.
He won't see my daughter.
I think you need to step outside of yourself and your own selfishness. Mr. Crawford, you say as a young man, you were not ready for the responsibility of being a father and denied paternity of Patricia Liggins. After 35 years of living with denial and regrets, you are here with your sister to prove Ms. Liggins is, in fact, your biological daughter. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Crawford, you say you've lived for years with regrets and unanswered questions. Tell me about that.
I'm here to right my wrongs and try to prove that she's my daughter.
She does not believe you're her biological father, and yet you're still here to right your wrongs because
Yes,
you
Your
believe
Honor.
you are.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Ms. Crawford, this is truly eating away at your brother.
Yes, it is, Your Honor.
How has it been for your family?
It's been kind of up and down because for a long time, we didn't know anything about it. And once he got in touch with her, I realized that it was eating away at him. I knew her mom. We grew up together, grade school. I believe she's ours too.
You do.
Yes, ma'am.
It's been 35 years.
Right.
You haven't seen Ms. Liggins.
No, Your Honor.
Are you ready to see her today?
Yes, ma'am.
Jerome, please escort her in.
Yes, Your Honor. Hello. I'm gonna have you come with me. You're gonna go right up here. Left side.
Ms. Liggins, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
You have doubts. Mr. Crawford is your biological father. Is that correct?
Yes.
Explain.
Well, I would have to say he's not my father because I've never heard of him in my life. It's been 35 years. No one in my family, not even my Auntie Linda, so I'm surprised that she's here saying that he's my father. My mother, not once has she ever mentioned him. I talked to my great aunt. No one close to me has ever heard of him because I grew up knowing that another man was my father. This is really eye-opening to me more than anything. It's hurtful. Too much time has gone by, in and out of foster homes, not knowing who my father is, and then now you're telling me this man is my father. It's just too much. It's really a lot that I'm feeling right now. I'm trying my best to be composed, but this is extreme.
When is the first time you even heard about Mr. Crawford?
Last year, my aunt and my little sister, they were at a, I guess some type of barbecue or what have you. And they called me on the phone, and I'm thinking, like, this has to be a joke. So my aunt gets on the phone, she's like, do you want to hear from your dad? I'm like, my dad? What dad? Who is that? That name, that type of terminology doesn't even exist to me. So I get on the phone, and this gentleman, he gets on the phone, and he's talking to me. More than anything, I'm thinking it's a joke, because my aunt, she's real fun-loving, she's outgoing. I'm like, okay, this has to be a joke. Stop playing with me. So I'm kind of like torn between emotions, don't know what to feel. So I'm talking to him, and then his sister gets on the phone, and I'm talking to her. She's telling me, like, you know, we're gonna make this up to you. Everything is going to be fine. I'm 35 now. I've been living my whole life without a father, and I'm okay with that. But for you to come to me now? Why not years ago? Why now? I really don't understand. I'm kind of lost for words.
This sounds absolutely incredible. 35 years, and you get a call out of the blue.
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Shaw, as you listen to your niece, she almost can't believe that you're on this side of the aisle saying you believe Mr. Crawford is her biological father.
Yes, Your Honor. And first of all, I've told China about her father.
That's a lie. I've never heard of this man in my life.
I'm not gonna lie to you, Your Honor, because I know him in the court of law. I've told China about her father. They told her her father was dead. That's why she didn't pursue to look for him.
No, I was told that another man was my father whole life.
I know who her daddy is.
Ms. Shaw, were you around when her mother dated Mr. Crawford?
Yes, ma'am, I was.
And so you remember that courtship?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
And that's why you're so convinced he is your niece's biological father?
Yes, ma'am, I am.
She's about the only one that's convinced because I'm not convinced. I've never heard of this man in my life until last year. So I don't know where all of this is coming from and why is it now? Why not so many years ago? Why today?
Mr. Crawford, that is a good question. Why is this taking so long?
Why it took so long? Her mom and I, we went together. We was out celebrating on the 4th of July, and we ended up being together. One time, after that, I haven't seen her mother anymore until she had a baby came around, and I said, "Who baby is that?" She said, "Yours." I said, "No, I don't think so."
That's the doubt.
Oh, so you're saying you were intimate with her mother.
Right.
But you all weren't in a committed relationship.
No, we weren't.
You weren't boyfriend and girlfriend.
No, we was not.
Baby.
So this was just like,
I get together.
okay, so you had a sexual encounter.
Yes. After that, I ended up going to work on a cruise boat out of town, so I didn't hear nothing else.
If you want more episodes of Paternity Court, make sure to subscribe and click on the notification bell.
Her mom and I, we kind of hung out in the neighborhood. I actually remember China at 2 or 3 months, I think she was.
You what?
She came, she brought her to the house.
Yes, she did.
But the part that lost me, she never told me that was my brother's baby. As friends, she was calling me, asking me, will I watch her baby for her? And I did. Not knowing that her and my brother had any dealings at all.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just as sorry that it's 35 years, it's absurd to me too.
Ms. Liggins, as you listen to this testimony, I see that it really is.
It's really hurt. This is just horrible. This is a horrible situation. This is every reason why we have to be careful of the choices that we make. We cannot.
right.
People get hurt by this.
Yeah.
Oh God, this is. Oh God. Oh God, I'm just here for answers. I mean, again, I don't have anything against this gentleman here. He seems like a nice guy. I just don't want to get my hopes up. I'm just torn.
I want to ask you, Ms. Shaw, if you knew this even back then and you say, I knew this was his child, what prevented you or why did you decide not to ever tell your niece?
Your Honor, I told China.
You never told me this. I don't know why would you even sit here and lie. The first time I found out was last year. I would have reached out to him myself if I heard about him. Why wait now? People keep secrets all the time, and secrets, you need to speak up. Closed mouth doesn't get fed. You have to talk about things. You can't just keep things to yourself.
Ms. Shaw,
yes, ma'am.
You said you knew when Ms. Liggins' mom and Mr. Crawford were seeing one another.
Yes, ma'am.
So you remember when your sister got pregnant? You remember when she saw him?
I don't know when she got pregnant, but I know when she did the wild thing.
Right. How do you know that?
I was in my house.
And what happened?
She asked me if he could spend the night. It was during the July 4th, July weekend.
And you're saying Mr. Crawford and your sister were intimate in your house?
I'm quite sure they was, because the door was closed. You ain't doing nothing with the door doing closed.
So, Mr. Crawford, do you remember being intimate with Ms. Liggins' mom at Ms. Shaw's house?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did your sister ever say to you, I was intimate with Mr. Crawford and now I'm pregnant with his baby?
Yes, I asked her, what's wrong with you? Are you pregnant? I said, you around here throwing up and doing a whole lot of sleeping. I said, what the problem is? She said, I'm gonna have a baby. I said, well, what? Who the daddy? She said, Eddie. I said, Eddie who? She said, Eddie Crawford, Jessica brother. I said, I knew it. I said, that weren't.
Okay, but you guys knew it, but no one ever told me.
And
So what was life like growing up without a father?
Oh, I had to create this bold personality. I call myself lion-hearted Liggins because I have to put on this shell, you know, like I'm just by myself, you know, strong and determined and being my own father, you know, trying to find my way, you know, making mistakes and not having that man there to tell me like, okay, oh, he isn't good for you, you know. So I'm just trying to figure life out on my own. So it's been very heartbreaking, you know. Sometimes I would be so confused. I'll see other people with their dad like, man, I wish I had that. Then I'll just have to like pull myself up by the straps and just keep it moving like, oh, well, it is what it is. I just began to accept things for what they are. And then now last year, I'm still kind of like taken aback by this. I'm thinking this can't be real. They're just making up something.
I
And
ain't
I'm
gonna
like,
make up
why?
daddy for you, baby.
But why? I'm like, I don't have any money, so I don't know why he's reaching out to me. Like, why do he want me to be his daughter? Because I don't have anything for him. I can't offer him anything. So why?
That's sad.
This is just all wrong. So we need answers.
Yes, Mr. Crawford.
A year ago, when I first started talking to her, Linda ran into my sister and I. She didn't see me at first. She seen my sister and said, you have a niece. And she said, I've been to call her for y'all. That's the first time I started speaking with her. And like,
Right, and he would
when
text
she
me
asked
every
me,
day.
she
I even
realized
started
when I
calling him
found out,
Pops.
I started texting her.
From that
You
day
did
forward.
from the moment.
From that day
day
till
forward,
now.
he would text me every day. I kind of like got irritated
now.
by it. Like, dude,
What?
every single day he would like text me. And I'm
Every
like,
day.
this dude keep texting me every day. So then I just was like, okay, let me give him a chance. He seems like a nice person.
What would he text you and say?
He'll say good morning. I'll be like, what's up, Pops? You know, trying to see how it feels to even say that.
Oh,
You know.
yes.
But I also want to say this to China, if you will receive it. I lived in the house with my brother, and I didn't know. So my heart goes out to you because you one did most of the suffering with these years. But I also want you to recognize I knew your mom, and he's my brother, and I didn't know. I want to help her. I hope she is ours, okay? I want her to let her know where she came from. And like she says, she don't know why this is going on because she ain't got no money. We don't either, but we got some love.
And that's all it takes.
Yes.
And that's all it takes.
I guarantee you get that.
And I see that makes you emotional
Yeah, it does.
because you feel like you can feel her pain.
I feel like if she's his, I let her down too. I should have known.
Mr. Crawford, during that time, you testified that you denied it was your baby. When she said, this is your baby, you said, no, it's not.
I had denied it on the thing about me having intercourse with her in July. And they saying she was born in January. Didn't add up to me.
But we learned that she was premature, so she wouldn't be on the roster of conception.
So I say it's a possibility she might be mine. So I'm finna find out. She and I talk, and I say, don't trip off nothing. We'll find our DNA and tell us the truth.
And I have that truth for you.
Thank you.
And I appreciate it.
I do. I don't want to make you wait one moment longer. You've been through so much, Miss Liggins. Jerome, may I have the envelope, please? Before I read the results, Miss Liggins, your hopes. Are you hoping today that Mr. Crawford is your biological father?
It would be nice, but I've already created this shell. Like, just accept it for what it is. So I don't want to get my hopes high, you know, and if he's not my dad, I have to go back to living how I already was living without a dad. So I'm just going to say he's not my dad.
But if he is, we're coming through that shell.
Come on,
She has
baby.
to be broke.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
These results were prepared by DNA Diagnostics, and they read as follows. In the case of Crawford versus Liggins, when it comes to 35-year-old Patricia Liggins, it has been determined by this court. Mr. Crawford,
Yes, Your Honor.
you are not the father.
Man.
It's all right.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, Miss
Can I
Liggins.
hug you? Are you here for you? Okay? Look at me. I know a lot about your mom, and I'm sorry. I didn't know either. Okay?
Come here. I'm hoping everything turned out all right. I'm still calling you. Okay.
I'm sure you would.
Okay.
It is what it is.
I would like to say that I truly appreciate. We do this each and every day here. We don't always see people approach these situations with so much love and so much grace from the outset. This is truly extraordinary. That even though I wasn't able to give you the result you all wanted or even thought to be true, that what you received in spite of all of that was the love of a father.